howdy gang. It's not episode 34, but like we're just gonna be straight up honest with you. You can see that date. That date hasn't changed since last week's bonus content. That's because we're getting some batch recordings done because we're gonna be out of the country for a bit, and who knows when we will next have a chance to do bonus content. So this time we're not being festive. We're being
Pensive.
evergreen. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the ways that you win the card game and how some of them are quirky and interesting, and sometimes you hit people for 5 damage +1.
Good old +1. That's my goat blitz Omnimon.
Yeah. You
I feel
know,
like he's kind of the emblem of like 5 checks +1.
yeah, we had an idea of like some of the like obviously specifically named win conditions, but we were also kind of talking about we plan on talking about some of like the you don't come back from this kind of win positions.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I kind of joked about it, I do kind of want to just say getting 4-checked turn 2 is an alternate win condition.
Yeah, I think we could give like the red hybrids of the world kind of their flowers on that.
Yeah.
It's something to think about.
Like, what do you do when they hit you for over half your security turn 2 because you had the audacity to rookie boost?
Yeah. I mean, there's also like popular in the Eastern format right now is at least as of the recording time that you can see down there is the Taiwan Ruin Mode loop, and like that technically isn't inherently winning the game on the spot because there is some counterplay to it, not a lot, but there is some. But like, you know, it's sort of like being turn skipped, and like that is in of itself kind of a game winning factor. So, you know, lots to think about in terms of like where we draw the like, is that good enough? There's no way back from this point. I kind of also, there's some funny ones too. It's like the inevitability of like real late game monsters. Like some decks lose when Setcon gets to its like Lament plus what's it called, Avenge Kid loop, where like they just never deck out. So that's something to think about too. But it depends how we define some of these things. So we can kind of talk it over.
Yeah.
You can let us know what you guys think in those comments, because if you're seeing this like kind of soonish, you're like a champion. You're behind the paywall. Shoutouts.
Yeah. Part of me does almost want to tier list some of these. So I'm gonna like find like some of the relevant cards to go with them.
I'll give you. Let's go through this as well. So we're thinking like the actual named win button is Doomsday Clock. That's like the first time they've ever explored that. There's Mill as a mechanic, decking your opponent out either by fatigue like a Setcon would and going infinite, or discarding your opponent's cards and doing it as like a burst lethal thing. There's been turn skips. There's been floodgates. There's been a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There's been unlosable boards that can't be broken, sort of thing. So
yeah, and I guess it'll be also kind of figuring out what is an alternate win condition and what is like a main game plan, and like that's kind of why I want the tier list to be like, these are just like game plans. They're still obnoxious, but they're game plans versus like, this is the win condition.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. I think there's also something to be said for the fact that like the consistency of an alt win con might be something we have to talk about too. Like, is that the thing that this deck just does to you? Like, people are like, Talmon Ruin Mode loop's kind of inconsistent. Sometimes it doesn't find its cards because it's not playing draw cards. And it's like, yeah, well, sometimes it does it, but if it's topping events, maybe we have to give it its flowers. So funny, actually, I think maybe the real one, the actual named alt win con, might be the thing that is truly an alt win con, because Diaboromon's not doing that. But that can be something for us to explore. But yeah, let us know if you guys understand, like, if there's anything that like we're not already talking about. Like, get in the comments if you have any predictions. I personally, I think I don't think it's a stretch to say Mill is the strongest alt win con in Digimon. It has had multiple like kind of back-breakingly powerful iterations. Like Millith is insane. Apocalypse on the ban list for its notable uninteractivity. I think it's tough to not have it at least be like, wow, what were they going for?
Yeah, what I mean, it's like
the best of the best.
Why would I play normally?
Yeah.
Like that is what it is. Like, why would I play normally is Mill. Why are we checking security cards?
That's a great point, actually. Like when your deck gets to the point of like, why would I swing at you? That's how you know you've arrived at like a consistent alt win con. Um, by that same logic, that probably bumps down the like turn skips and Talmon loops because they sort of still win the game. Some Talmon loops go infinite. They play like a paladin mode to like put their own deck back. So I guess like Talmon loop gets a better result than an average turn skip deck would. But like back when like Zubamon turn skip was popular, they just placed guys for multiple turns and then they hit you 10 times in one turn. So
Yeah.
like maybe there's something for that. I think Talon Loop probably gets peak dishonesty. I think you might be right. I think it's kind of earned that position because it, like you said, like if you can avoid swinging at security, maybe that's good enough. Maybe that's truly deeply broken.
Uh, this is Derek tier,
Shout out to the goat.
content creator tier, and like
Yeah, degenerate real gameplay.
yeah. There we go.
Can we? This is the thing. Some of the decks that we're going to talk about here have shifted between these tiers over time. Back in BT7, in the halcyon days of young hybrid formats, I one time created a list where my explicit purpose was to do 10 damage all at once to beat a yellow hybrid player with an Ancient Greymon and Takuya Convra. And that's kind of just what that deck does now. So I think where it was previously content creator tier, it might have legitimized itself as degenerate but real.
Yeah.
So sometimes the funny things shift around in Digimon and the relative power of some things increases or decreases, which is, frightening.
Yeah. Like part of me almost still wants to have it here, and then just like Takuya, like just a Takuya in general, just represents like red hybrid, like in general.
The fact that they're doing it for real now. Yeah, I see the vision.
Like I think another, it's not really, see that's the thing, like it's not really the game like super degenerate, but it is just
it
like
checks the security, right?
It's
like
like
being completely infinite.
You know what, domain expansion, like you're just get like people like, oh my gosh bro, this is such a dishonest gameplay. I'm like, no, you let me set up. Perish.
I see it. This is a funny one then, because that does imply that like I think domain expansion is like a reference for this. Kind of helps us look at it as like some decks just really go too hog wild on you. I'm gonna levy a crazy one for you here when you've probably not thought about it in a little while. Do you remember Armour texture to make Quartzmon?
Okay, no, I was actually going down a completely different route. Yeah.
I think people haven't thought about that one in a little while. That did some dumb stuff back in the day. I have seen footage of that. You can still find it on YouTube.
That was really fast though as well. Like
it was like, I think it's content creator tier because it never topped. That's where I'm willing to put it at the moment. But good lord, when it worked, it was obscene.
Like this, I mean, we just got to start Derek tier off with that. Like,
oh, dude, I have thoughts on Dorbeck. He does check security.
Yeah.
Right? Like he is the like progenitor of all like I'm just playing promo Guilmon and a million draw cards decks, which is of its own flavor of dumb. But like, you know what? No, maybe it does belong in its own tier. I was about to say, is it not as dishonest as Anubis and Red Hybrid? But like, kind of it's worse.
I think the Derek tier especially is like, if I could slash this in half and put a Blitz Omni on top of it as well, I think that's what puts it in Derek tier. It's like they hit you for 5, put a Blitz Omni on top of it and go, any response? Are we scooping?
Yep.
Game 2? Question mark?
That's an all-timer. That's some deep UK Digimon lore. I'm all for it. You know what? Yeah, let's leave Dorvik there. Okay, so if we're willing to explore the things that are like semi sort of tournament successful as well, like what are we talking about, like Mother Shoto? Where are we at with that?
I think that's peak dishonesty.
I think the thing with Mother Shoto is like it's functionally kind of a like security control analog, like it's similar in principle. But like it wins.
Like, so I want to put Mother D on here, but then I also want to put GG.
Oh, okay, with the like spawn a paladin thing.
I would put, well, I just, because I feel like him or Mamemon is the best representation of Mother I mean, I could also just
like
put
as a black
Shoto.
hybrid. Yeah, I was gonna say Shoto control.
Yeah, all right.
If you ain't been keeping up with this weekend's results, Andrew, Shoto control ain't going nowhere. The
Yeah,
medieval Gallantmon is obscene in that deck.
it's this little criminal, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's
That's
the
the
guy.
goat. Gosh, get yours now at a backbreaking price.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Yeah. We'll put Shoto on here because
he deserves it.
He's peak dishonesty.
Peak dishonesty. I think he's funny though. So.
Where is Mother D Reaper? Is it Derek there?
I think there's a complication to this, right? Because I think a real D Reaper ends the game with Reaper, right? Like that's the thing. So I think real D Reaper has to be Derek tier because it does it almost identically to how Dorbikmon Derek tier decks work.
But part of me also wants to put it in domain expansion because it's not like Reaper drops turn 3 because they drew too many cards. Like Reaper is a known quantity outside of like if they use the Zuvamon as an extra source and they use
and the XAD body.
But that's only to turn on Gatekeeper is my thing. Like that stops you from killing them as they set up the domain. So like
but then, like, some other D Reapers can go infinite. That's the other thing. Like, you could just play a Paladin mode. Like, maybe, I don't know. There's layers to it. But, like, I think the thing with Mother D Reaper is that, like, it technically doesn't even have to do much other than just stop you winning.
Yeah. Is it content creator tier?
Didn't it top?
It tops it tops every format. It tops every format. That's the problem.
I'll give you content creator tier. We have Ancient Greymon in content creator tier, and that deck.
No, like, it's peak dishonesty until we actually get the D Reaper zone. Restrict. Yeah, until we actually get D Reaper zone or choice restrict. Like these two cards will stay together whether you're playing the intended archetype or not,
or control or not.
Yeah. Like, are you playing Shoto with some mothers, or are you playing mother with some Shotos?
Yeah, exactly. There's no winning it. This is a great pick. I see. This is tough because the other thing I'm thinking about is like if we're expanding the concepts of like peak dishonesty stuff, like the original deck for that was Mega Digimon Fusion, like domain expansion of Veemon stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Arcanimon Mummymon ends on like Cherubi blow itself up. Yeah, that's a domain expansion cheesy dishonest deck.
Yeah.
Gosh, this card has done. It deserves this. I think it deserves to be noted as a cheeser.
Yeah, this is a solid pick. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any other. I think is Loop kind of just that too. I mean, we're gonna talk about Hand Loop as well.
Yeah, I mean that's probably just Sayoko, right? To represent.
Yeah, I think Sayoko makes the most sense. I'm good with that. Man, okay, so it's funny because the actual win con here is probably the worst of these.
Yeah, I actually. Like, we do a row below.
Unironically, actually fair, the card.
Yeah.
Which is funny, too, because against half of these decks, Clock of the End, or sorry, Doomsday Clock absolutely cooks them. Is it also like, yeah, it's how it goes.
Like, I'm gonna put just general Mirage. Like Mr. Mirage Galgamon Burst Mode isn't like an alternate win condition as much as sit on Mirage for 4 turns. Does feel like it sometimes. Like it's mad, but
yeah, I'll give you that. I think the difference between Mirage and the other burst modes as well is that Rosemon burst mode like is a board control tool, and Shine burst mode can also OTK you. Does the 4 damage big swing on turn 3 or whatever was the hypothetical high roll, but like. Man, sometimes this card also does it in the late game with no warning and no gameplay pattern.
Yeah, so, not cheating. I refuse to call Mirage fair, but it is technically not cheating.
Yeah, it's still allowed in its current iteration, so therefore it gets to survive.
But this,
I think peak dishonesty, or actually, can I be honest with you? Why would I play normally? Because it had counters. In that, like, you could play the Pomumons to stop stuff. Like, Bloom had a hypothetical good matchup against the turn skip stuff. But there were things that beat Apocalypse too. But just because they were physically beatable doesn't mean they're like acceptable for the health of a game.
I think the fact that Henny also, when he did, I should have had this in the background, like Henny doing
Henny's
his one
footage,
where
yeah.
he didn't check security and just
Oh,
bounced them
with
all
the
to hand.
ancient Garu, so
He
smart.
showed that why would I play normally is actually the correct tier. It's like,
Yeah.
man, why is he never swinging? Like, because he never has
Yeah,
to.
he's created a damage floodgate. Yeah, I think that's a great pick.
All right, let's.
Actually, fair, sadly.
I
I could do with being a little bit more stupid. Yeah, the tokens do damage too, by the way. And then Arukeni Mamimon. I think Arukeni Mamimon is the like lowest content creator tier deck. If I'm honest with you, it does
yeah,
have a top, as far as I remember. It's
it's
a
either
single
that
top.
or like it's the bottom of Derek tier because it's a matchup check and
Mm,
a half. Like, and in theory, the more card, like it, you kind of mentioned it before. It's a really generic or like belligerent draw engine that,
yeah,
like, in theory, when Goblimon and Ogremon end up in Guantanamo Bay,
touch wood.
this might just be like the awkward like purple play. Like, I don't think it's going to ever replace, like, because it's not as memory efficient to start. Like,
Yeah,
it relies on a tamer or a 6-drop level
it's
5.
way too easy to floodgate.
But yeah, it's also really easy to floodgate. But I think there's a realm where like Arukeni Mummymon just becomes like a belligerent draw engine that is a
Hmm.
matchup check on like the, oh, did you pack a floodgate that stops this? No?
Yeah,
Okay, I've the same like 3 cards are going to loop on you until I get cards in trash.
yeah, cards and trash in hand, exactly how I want them. Yep, that's a good pick. I could see that in con. I think it's almost as dishonest as quartz and architecture. That's for sure.
Yeah.
See, is there any other like notably terrible cheesiness? It feels like there's something I'm forgetting. Something truly evil. Uh, what was the? I'm trying to think. Somebody talked to me the other day about like armor forms with Magnamon. It was like a like Cho. I remember Chohakai. Oh well, hang on. There's the. You know what I've just remembered existed? I was thinking of Chohakaimon because I was thinking of Sanzomon, but the actual cheesiest nightmare was the Four Great
Shakamon?
Dragons plus Venus loop. That was
Oh
like
yeah.
sort of a fake infinite. I think that one's closer to domain expansion in terms of like or than content creator tier. But that sure was like an obscene, irritating, like Magna Dramon loop forever
Yeah, that's
again. So I could see that one going on here. It did end the game with attacks. So in terms of
yeah.
the full scope of things, it was less terrible. But like, man, it put the work in. Is there anything like notably missing? Actually, I have an honorable mention. I don't necessarily think maybe it's another contender for not cheating, but what do you think about this? What do you think about Drazzle Egg Demon Lords?
Ooh.
I think that it did not convert in anywhere near the numbers people expected. I still think it should be a choice restriction, personally speaking. I think for the health of the game, it's not a rare high gameplay moment. I think it's kind of stupid. Um, but I think Drazzle and the Gate as a pair interact unhealthily with each other. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's
I think it completely broke the game though. I think the full on existence of a genuinely like counterless Mega Zoo is kind of obscene. And probably deserves a mention on here. I think not cheating feels the most fair. I don't know if you agree. Just because it's like it is technically you can still Cyclone it,
yeah.
I guess.
And
And
it
they
does
can't
turn
use
off half
options
your
if it's
yeah,
away.
like turns off half your deck, and like you really have to grind games where it shows up.
Yeah, sometimes you auto win.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there anything like I feel like there's like a couple other real cheesers that are like we're not
I've
like
just I've
Millith, I guess.
yeah, sure. Give me a sec.
Oh, great pick on Wergerumon, buddy. I totally forgot we did that. Yeah, that's a excellent contender.
Uh,
That's Derek tier. That's Derek tier
yeah, this is
all
Derek
over.
too.
1,000%. 1,000%. Good God. Yeah, if you guys don't know, the idea with Wergerumon was I mean, this is behind the paywall for a little bit, I'm sure most of you know, but the idea is that where Garurumon swings, ideally with jamming, and you print memory to use an option that unsuspends it, and you continue to do that until the game ends. And
Yeah.
it's kind of stupid. That
It's
Trump Swords and what was the Avalon's Gate?
Avalon's Gate, Trump
And
Sword, Wave of
Wave of
Reliability
Reliability. Yeah.
with the Mimi Joe. So like card was the deck's really silly. It can't be any higher than Derek tier or top of content creator tier because you lose the game on the spot if anything goes wrong.
Yep.
If they have a blocker that you can't get over, game is over. If you have if they play options in security, game's over.
Yep.
If you don't have the jamming egg when you choose to push up because you haven't gone one egg,
Yep.
game might be over if you hit a big Digimon too early in the swing.
A mem blocker, dude. Like there's an infinite number of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it is peak. It's like top of content creator tier, miscellaneous Derek tier. Like you show up to locals with that deck with no pure intents in heart.
Yep, I see it.
Which actually now, I mean, we recorded this the same day. It's wow. Okay, I don't have system or.
Oh,
There
great.
she is. Yeah, let's just put her.
A shade of security control if ever I saw one. Maybe we give security control its flowers after this.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think as a notable point, Sister Mont Blanc is like it just also can check damage. So I think is it? It's got to be Derek tier, right? It's not quite
Yeah.
content creator tier because it was like kind of like also pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it's had some actual pretty good success. It's a funny one.
And it technically was foreseen. As soon as people were like, "Oh, I mean, they are
support,
puppets."
huh?
Like it is. This is technically as close to an intended line as I think Orisa being generic puppet support is going to give.
At least in the like realm of like their power gaps, like this is to Orisa what Shoto is to Mother Reaper.
Yes.
And both of those things have had their consequences on the card game.
Yeah, let's well, yeah, I haven't had to search this card in a while. Let's put Flame Hellscythe.
I think it's Hellscythe or Avenge Kidmon feel like the picks to me because the infinite fatigue of Avenge Kidmon to just like cycle your options back could be the wave. But like a lot of decks do that now. We got Paladin mode.
It is really funny as well that with security control, so many of the angels as a result have kind of been eating their Wheaties to be out of the DP threshold of Flame Hellscythe now.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe the card that represents this card eventually should change, but I feel like it's just the go-to if you don't use like the security icon is still to just like we've all done our Flame Hellscythe.
Hellscythe play Pillowmon won Worlds this year. I don't think we can take that away from it.
Yeah.
Man, it's a challenge though. Where does SetCon live now?
I feel like
there are bigger fish in the ocean again. I think it's still peak dishonesty.
Yeah, it's at the peak dishonesty or why would I play normally? Because the only time we saw our current world champion swing was after clarifying that it would win him the tiebreak.
Yeah.
Like the only reason to ever swing is
if your time rules are that weird.
or if you need something to die to then recover +1 or something. So like your Salamon, like this is I think it's either the bottom of why would I play normally or the bottom of peak dishonesty, which seems like quite the tier jump, but like
I think it could get why would I play normally. I think there's some merit to it being just truly an ancient Digimon deck at this point as well.
Yeah.
Like it is like primordial in its like cheesiness.
The funny thing is as well, we don't even have to necessarily consider the why would I play normally from a result standpoint, because like peak dishonesty actually is low-key results back, but like why would I play normally is about making a statement.
Yeah, Apocalypse also won national or won a regional, right?
Like,
and it had its flowers.
Yeah, like it has results to back it up, and SetCon is always something. I mean, still currently the world champion, so like you can't not say that it has results, but it is definitely like I showed up and I don't care what happens to me. I'm about making sure something bad happens to you.
These are it's so funny to look at because how many of these are like there's a lot of deck out here, there's a lot of infinite here, but like in terms of like actual gameplay pattern, it really is a straight line. Sister Mont Blanc and above do completely game warping stuff, and Arukeni, Mamimon, and below are like, yeah, within reason, this is obscene.
Yeah.
It's interesting that feels like, shouts to Derek for being the namesake of you must be this tall to ride for
Yeah.
bullshit.
I was gonna
um,
say, it's funny that we have Ruin for like the Talmon loot, but I was thinking about it like the before the ban list hits to Hammer Spark and thing like the Agaru and like basically both ancients ending on Ruin mode to
oh
10k
yeah,
10k you every turn was
yeah.
also peak dishonesty. Like
I
basically
mean,
anything that ends on Ruin mode,
yeah,
like
they're not doing it.
Arukeni
It's
Mummymon can do it now, where you just like go up, go into like a Beelstar or something, then end on Ruin, blow off, and just going, unlucky.
there's not a lot of shines still playing this card. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
says a lot that they can evolve for 0 and not play this. It's a challenge. I think there's also something to be said for the fact that like one of the maybe more interesting developments of the game is like people realizing you can use Ruin mode in whatever else you want. Like the Ancient Garu and Ancient Greymons were also kind of doing it with like Agumon and Gabumon Rush, like that math Gabumon loops and stuff like that with
Ooh.
like Louis and things. Um, like that was it wasn't quite an infinite turn, but it could pretty much kill you off the rip. So I think Ruin mode being a little flag to stick in the ground to say, yeah, this deck does that too, is a good indicator of the health of a card.
If your goal is 40 cards that end up on Ruin mode, your deck is not honest.
Yeah, exactly. I think. Is there anything else that we're obviously missing? Because I'm gonna look at this right now, Andrew, and I gotta be honest. I'm expecting purple to be on here. Purple's a notorious problem child in the
I was
community.
kind of thinking and like Anubis, but like when Anubis doesn't ever really feel like, well, obviously him being at 1 makes him really hard to kind of be the focal point of a deck anymore.
Sure.
Um,
I think BT4 Anubis Rush is infinitely cheesier than actually broken Anubis. I
yeah,
think he's just
exactly.
broken,
Like
but he is
Anubis is like
moderately
an eye
fair.
roll card. I feel like he is like if we were gonna put him like just straight up as a card, I feel
Yeah,
like Anubis from EX5 just goes in just not cheating, but feels deeply unfair.
yeah, I think that's a great pick. Because, like, and it's a sack, right? You get sacked, just like how when the Demon Lords open the Jazzle sometimes, you got
Yeah.
sacked, dude. Bad luck. Um, man, it's a daunting. And that card was a 4 for a while.
Yeah.
Really crazy.
I was actually kind of thinking like, does Merva end up on here? Because she's
I
another one, like right now she's seeing resurgence back in purple hybrid.
Oh my god, dude, we didn't even include like werewolf mode or anything. Like some of those, like the real true
Yeah.
blue. Oh wait, dude, why don't we just throw Jack Raid on there as like the surrogate for all of these cards?
Yeah. I
Jack Raid with Merva or werewolf mode or any other like Lilith loop. Like it's Jack Raid's fault.
yeah, it's funny because I was actually looking for I was actually looking to see if I had Lilith downloaded, but I actually didn't have the right Lilith. So I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna bring up Lilith loop, but yeah, no, I think Jack Raid
I think
is
Jack Raid is I think Jack Raid is a contender for peak dishonesty. I think it is like adjacent to a ruin mode. Like, it's sort of Talmon loop adjacent in like what it does. It's a loop deck, right? The loop decks stick together. Um, I think that's a good pick. I'm glad you remembered Merva. Let's see, is there anything else?
yeah,
Is there any
like
like what about like completely like unbreakable boards? There's not a ton of those in Digimon, right? Like there's
no, you could argue like Magna's as close to an unbreakable board that you get, but he does have some very glaring weaknesses.
Yeah, he doesn't like getting aced. He can't deal with source strip on his turn. Like,
Um, Ragnar's only fully unaffected. Like in theory, you can assemble the Megazord. I feel like that's domain expansion tier.
yeah,
Like
exact at that point.
even if you're playing dishonestly with taunts,
Hmm.
it's what the deck is designed to do. So it's like I hesitate to put intended game plan
Sure.
on here outside of maybe not cheating because like Mirage intended game. We don't know why Mirage's intended game plan. We don't know what the fuck they were
What the
thinking.
heck? Yeah, that one
Like
eludes me. It was bad enough when it just stole memory and stole turn. Sometimes it does 6 damage in one turn.
part of me wants to say like hybrids. Like
Oh, that's an interesting point. Hybrids are kind of an alt win con. They're like in like it's a resource accrual. I can give you that.
yeah, like I kind of just want to put Bokomon as like a stand-in for every color of hybrid because all of them are uniquely degenerate in that very few cards can interact with them. Like it's black or gray, it's hexablau, it's quartz and argomon, and then like everyone else is like, damn, I wish I could hit that rookie in the back that's gonna turn into
Yeah.
potentially two hybrids in one turn now.
Yeah, why are they all in their own raising area? Sometimes giving you memory.
Yeah. So
That's a great pick. I
yeah.
also, you'll never catch me suggesting that we shouldn't put Bokomon on a criminals tier list.
Yeah, I think he goes on peak dishonesty because nobody wakes up and
Just
goes,
fundamentally designed very well in
I
like a broken way.
like I get that there are gonna be some people like, yo, JP, or like, yeah, Takuya, or like whatever, but like most people who are like, damn, I'm gonna play hybrids, they're like actively trying to do something with those hybrids. They're going, don't interact with me. I'm hitting you
Yep.
when I feel like it. When I see purple hybrid with like the full like mahjong board built up in the back, and I'm just watching them one by one to play around security options, just go,
Yep.
yeah, I'll evolve at my own pace.
Yep.
It's like
Paying the one extra memory to just continue to cycle through. Very
like
obscene.
I look at my domain expansion boards, I'm like that man, if I hit one option card, the game's over. Whereas like the hybrid decks are like, damn, I hit an option card. Okay, anyway, the hybrid to the next one, get in there.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I think also just like hybrids have been kind of Setcon-esque in that like they've been there not for like forever, but like hybrid deck has been kind of a 2-year phenomenon now.
Yeah, especially with
It's
mind link
clearly staying.
tamers. Like
Oh my god, yeah.
every good generic tamer is still going to be valuable, and the fact that mind link tamers now also make hybrids even lower commitment than they used to be, and
Yeah.
we're going to get scramblable rookies that can free play them out. Like I think hybrids will never get more honest until we get more tamer hate.
Yep. I agree with that. That's a thought. Poor Diaboromon, man.
Yeah,
Maybe the next time they give it something funny, they'll try it out. But let us. Hey, I tell you what. I can't. I'm not. I'm struggling to think of anything. Andrew, I don't know if you still got one
I
lying
think we cook
around.
with this one. I think this
Yeah,
one
I
is
think
one
I
of our
think we
best
hit
tier
it.
lists.
If we have if something has slipped through the cracks, let us know. Get in the comments. Keep us posted. Give us like what's like a funny emoji. We haven't done one of those for the Bocos in a while. Give us like a scissors and like a camera, and it'll be like scene cut because that'll be like the thing we forgot. Here's a camera and some scissors. There you go.
Alrighty.
But yeah, let us know because I think we've kind of covered it all here. And if you were gonna design an alt win con, let us know too. Because if I think there's some stuff we could do with some more of these cards. I like truthfully, I don't think we've seen the final variation of Arukenimon Mummymon. I have a feeling we're gonna be talking about that card for quite a while.
Alrighty. But yeah, well, thanks again to all the champions that get to see this nice and early. Don't know when this is coming out for the public, because normally we time these the podcast episodes. But
It's Nats season, baby.
yeah, podcast will be back after Utrecht, probably. What?